Hello, peeps and creeps, and welcome to Fright Club. I'm Gav, he's Danny.
Hello.
We are the Fright Club and this is a brand new episode of Monday Night Frights. On tonight's show, we're talking about the 80s horror comedy classic, Ghoulies!
Ghoulies!
And we're back with another episode of Monday Night Frights. It's episode 4.3.
Yeah.
How are we here, Danny?
We're getting absolutely stuck in this season. That's what we're doing.
It's class. We're talking about Ghoulies, which is just a mad fucking movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
I love it. What are your first initial thoughts?
I honestly, it's one of those ones I'd heard of before because the name's funny. And we're constantly referring to people as ghoulies.
I know.
Okay, he's a wee ghoulie, isn't he? But now that I fully understand what a ghoulie is, I'm like, no, that still applies to a lot of people. They're still wee fucking ghoulies. But yeah, and I mean, even the fact that the name itself, for over here anyway, if you say, oh, he took a dig to the ghoulies, so, but I'm glad I finally watched it. I mean, it's very low budget. I mean, could you even call it a B movie? Is it possibly a C movie? It's it doesn't look like it's up to much, but it's fantastic. Like, I really enjoyed it just because of how campy and rubbery and just like the set pieces, like all the set pieces look like something that's been pulled from like a theater production of a satanic ritual. It's just so ridiculous. And I mean the effects for the eyes, the glowing green eyes that for some reason seems to keep sending their pupils like going off in all directions. That tickled me something shocking.
I know. I noticed that with the eyes. It was like one eye was looking for you, one eye was looking at you.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that definitely falls into that category of so bad that it's good. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun, and I really enjoyed rewatching it. I've watched it a few times over the years, and I really enjoyed rewatching it for this episode tonight. But it was made in 1985. It was actually supposed to come out in 84, but there were some financial issues, and apparently whenever they had started production, they didn't have enough money, so they had to stop production for a few months, which delayed the release. Which also meant that Gremlins was released before it, which it was actually supposed to be released before Gremlins, but Gremlins came out first. So
I don't know that this would have, even if they had come out around the same time. I don't think this would have beat Gremlins.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have competed with Gremlins, but it is often referred to as like a D-grade version of Gremlins, a copycat, and it's maybe a little bit unfair to call it a copycat as such, but yeah, it's not on the same level as Gremlins. And it's funny that you said that Ghoulies, we always call each other Ghoulies, and we call people around here Ghoulies and stuff, and it's a big ball sack over here.
It's a big ball bag, guy.
Kicking the Ghoulies.
You got kicking the Ghoulies. Oh, he's swifty. There's Ghoulies right hard.
Fucking testes are burning now. The Ghoulies are gone.
Your Ghoulies. Don't stop playing with your Ghoulies over there.
And even before we go any further, we had a wee bit of bother with Zoom this week, Danny. This is our second or third attempt
to try and record this episode.
So we're going to enjoy it and have a bit of fun here. And
Exactly. Imagine, what would be a great idea for a wee sketch for over here if you were to have somebody like camera focused on somebody, or if we were just even do this and be like, here, stop playing with your Ghoulies, and the camera looks over and it's somebody playing with like wee Ghoulies figures. That would be funny. I don't need to be really funny for people. Do you have Ghoulies figures? Do you have Ghoulies figures?
No, I don't.
Did they have Ghoulies? Was there Ghoulies?
Yeah.
There was Ghoulies merchandise.
Yeah, there was. You can definitely get the life-size puppets from Trick or Treat and Mad About Horror and stuff. So
they're pretty dear. I was talking about the wee Ghoulie action.
Oh Jesus! Oh no, you have to flash the cash.
Have to go all out if you want to donate to see that skit made. You can do so.
You can do so
at the frightclubni.com.
And click that donate button.
And click the donate button. Send us
some money.
Put away notes and specifically saying this is for the Ghoulies skit.
Because if you don't, we'll just buy a coffee with it.
We'll just end up going to buy a coffee instead. Because you know what, Gav, we haven't had a coffee in so long. We must arrange a wee coffee date soon.
We will hook up and
a pair of Ghoulies going for a wee coffee.
Get your glass there. What are you drinking?
I've got a wee. I actually have coffee. I'm drinking from a wee Muppets.
We clinked our glasses.
Are we going?
No, I think you're the other way. Are you this?
But see, it's. For me, I'm this, but you should come the other way for me. But are we going? I think is that the right way for you? Well, if you're hosting, so you'll be right.
Click.
Pair of Ghoulies.
Oh, fuck's sake! Right. Anyway, here you could shave your beard. You could shave your beard and
shave my beard. I can shave my beard
and cut. Here you could shave your beard and paint your face green. And you could be the wee ghoulie.
The wee water ghoulie. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about this is how distinguish each individual ghoulie. Like there seems to be multiples of each type of ghoulie that appear towards the end of the film. But I love that you kind of got like alligator baby ghoulie. You've got weird cat ghoulie with. I love the eyes on it. The way it can like roll its eyes and be like, oh. You've got the rat ghoulie, and then you've got like capuchin monkey ghoulie. I don't know.
See, obviously that's the wee green one that's on the poster.
Coming out the toilet.
And that's the sort of famous scene, and everyone knows it's the wee green boy. But in this one, it's more the kind of the ratty one that's kind of like the main one.
Yeah, the main stuff. Yep. Because that's at the very start. They must have only had the wee rat one to start with, and then we're kind of like, right, we probably need a few more ghoulies to go alongside this ghoulie. How many times do you think we can say ghoulie in this episode?
For anybody who's watching it, count how many times we say ghoulie. And
we actually say we should when you're editing, just have like a wee thing in the corner, like a counter for every time we say ghoulie. But it's mad though, you know, the whole film, the film's named Ghoulies, but these wee creatures, yes, are kind of integral to the overall evil plan, but the narrative itself could probably play out without the ghoulies. So,
yeah, they're not actually important to the film, and they don't really do anything until the very end.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is weird, but yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those things where, you know, it's that kind of, I call it like a Minions effect, you know, where it's like the secondary character that becomes popular beyond the actual narrative. So you take like Despicable Me, and then everybody fell in love with the Minions. So of course the Minions got their own movies and merchandise and everything. And I feel like it's the same with the Ghoulies. Like people watch Ghoulies and they were like, look at those fucking weird wee scary puppets, and love them. And then they ended up getting a whole franchise and giant life-size puppet versions of themselves made for horror fans. Are the Ghoulies horror's Minions? Hot take. You heard it here first, folks.
You did hear it here first. But it's one of those things that I've said on many episodes during Monday Night Frights that whenever I went into the video store, the first thing that I saw was the poster of Ghoulies. Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was one or two, but I definitely know it was the first one because I remember the pink hue coming out of the toilet bowl, and that poster is very iconic now, and it's an amazing poster. I'd love to get it, but I always remember that when I was a wee toke, 4 or 5 years old, going into the video store, and it scared the shit out of me. And I remember years later eventually watching the film and being like, oh, they're not really in it that much, you know, they're not really in this film that much. And then they're obviously in it a lot more in the second one, and especially the third one, which we've mentioned is the one that they go to college. And there's lots of boobies. Danny, no boobies in this one.
There's not a single titty. Well, there's a bit when the big bad, when your boy's dad has transformed into a lady in a lovely nightgown, and you kind of get the faintest hint of nip through the nightgown. But I mean, if you're watching it for the deads, there's no deads, folks, in this one.
Oh, that's the scene where it's
a bit Nightmare on Elm Street.
I was about to say it's very it's like the Shining bathroom scene, but it's also like Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So you've got that kind of shining moment with the pretty lady, but it's not so pretty. Turns out it's a corpse. And yeah, it's the same in this because Daddy, what's the dad's name? I can't even mind off the top of my head.
Oliver?
Is it Oliver? Yeah, something like that.
I might have it written down here.
Have they?
Fuck. I can't remember his name.
Well, fucking, he definitely was just like some crazy, crazy fella they hired off the street
Aye.
because his acting is so like you're like almost like is this just method or are you genuinely like buying into the fact that you're trying to summon Satan here?
I know. I
Um,
actually thought he was pretty funny. I thought he was good.
oh, he's hilarious. I mean, I think a lot of the acting in this is so over the top and silly.
Mm-hmm.
That it's almost pantomime-esque.
Yeah.
Especially the two fucking stoners are just so on brand for that sort of character,
Yeah. So it was directed by Luca Bercovici, I think is his surname. This was his first feature film. Funny enough, you would never know it, but he had acted previously on a Charles Band film. It was financed and distributed by Charles Band's Empire Pictures, which would go on to do Reanimator and loads of other weird movies, really fun 80s movies. But this was one of the first kind of, I suppose, bigger movies. It wasn't really a big movie, but Danny, I don't have any budget. I couldn't find a budget for it. I forgot.
Not a single solitary budget. Well, we see if I can find a budget real quick.
I forgot to write it down. I'm a dick.
His dad was called Malcolm.
Oh.
Malcolm Graves. Of course, their surname is Graves because they're in an awful grave situation.
Oh, they are. Graves, boys.
Is there any details on budget for this film? Actually, there we go. So the estimated budget was about $5,500,000.
Wow. Are you joking?
No, that's what it's saying here.
Fuck
budget
me.
Estimated $5,500,000. Which I'm kind of like, could that be right? Could that be right?
Well, there's a decent amount of special effects in it, like, so maybe a lot of it was for that. But
oh, Tootie Green Eyes.
I said a decent amount. I didn't say decent special effects.
Well.
So, but yeah, I would imagine most of
and
it
the
went
puppets,
into that.
I suppose. It's I'd say you're right. It's probably all just gone into funding to make those wee puppets because, as I said, we get the core four. Great name for a Ghoulies tribute band. And then after that, they kind of duplicate. They kind of go a bit gremlins in the end, in that there suddenly appears to be more of them, like the wee alligator baby one coming up out of the pond, out of the fountain, being like, "Wow!" What a ridiculous movie! It's just so mad. Like, Una was sitting with me watching it, and she was just like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "It's Ghoulies." She's like, "Is it going to be dirty?" And I was like, "No,
it's about wee Ghoulies.
It's about wee Ghoulies.
Is it going to be dirty?
Is it going to be dirty? Them dirty Ghoulies."
Did she think it was about actual ball wags?
Maybe big bouncy balls.
Oh fucking hell! So it was written by the director as well, who he's done some mad films. I was looking at some of his other films that he did after this. He did a film called The Granny,
right?
Which I've never seen it, but I read the synopsis and it sounds mental. It's about these people that are trying to euthanize their granny to inherit some sort of money or something.
Right.
And then she's like, "Fuck you! I'm coming back from the dead," and she's all evil and shit. So
I
fun.
Go check that out. Yeah, if you want us to check that out, let us know in the comments below. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and he did another movie called Rockula as well, which actually sounds like it could be fun.
Are you going to tell me that there's a Rock Dracula film? Is that what is that what that implies?
Here, I don't know. I didn't really read much into it. I just seen a title, and that sounds like a fun title. I'll write that down and mention it in the video.
We maybe have to. I think we're going to have to do a special to this guy.
We may have to do another show for this. We
have to do a whole other show dedicated to this guy because, if Ghoulies is anything to go by, you're in for a wacky time. I
apologize for the half of my face like being fucking lit up. I'm just getting a lot of sun here, so.
Sunny boy.
Should really have some sort of shade there. Yeah, it's not going to hang about for too long.
No.
In the Mina. So if you haven't watched Ghoulies, we're about to spoil it big time for you.
Oh yeah, we're about to get into the
The
absolute deets.
yeah, the
We're
basic.
about we're about to fondle them Ghoulies
We're
real
about to
good.
fondle the Ghoulies really, and we're about to get into the wee crevices and everything. We're about to get in there, boy. Deep.
Oh jeez, they're so rank. That cat Ghoulie is real rankly, and just it's just the hair on it. Actually, obviously Alligator Baby doesn't have hair. I don't know. Do the Ghoulies have specific names?
It's I think maybe they are fondly referred to specific names later in the franchise. I'm not sure, but
okay.
At this point they definitely don't. And
No.
do you know what it was that did me? It was the fucking pubic hair. All the wee hair on.
I was literally about to say, bar Alligator Baby, all the ones that have hair are pure. It's wiry, gross looking. Like, they do look like Ghoulies.
Aye, they do.
They do absolutely. But yeah, as I said, it's just their wee, and they're pure slabbering and they're covered in goo.
I know.
Just the Alligator Baby one when it like comes up out of the pond like covered in algae, you're like, you're disgusting.
I know.
Get away from me, you dirty, sticky wee thing.
Dirty bastard. So your man Jonathan, as a baby, we get a prologue to this.
We get a little moment.
This movie influenced the Lord of the Rings, because without this we wouldn't have had the prologue to Lord of the Rings. So this prologue is very important, and it tells you what happened in the past.
Yeah.
To set up the story, which is very, very clever. And so basically the baby is getting sacrificed by the mad dad. You don't get any explanation. He's just killing this kid for no reason.
Yeah.
And there's a cult and there's guys in white robes and shit, and
they're kind of kind of Ku Klux Klan-y, but without the pointiness.
Yeah.
That's the pointy hoods. Yeah.
And there's a woman screaming, she's like, nah, not the baby. So she saves the baby.
Yeah.
And then the dad dies.
Yeah, so the baby, it's the way though. So at the start, and they're kind of, she's like, nah, don't kill her baby, and he's like, but you were told like he was made for this. He was made to be sacrificed. What are you giving off for now? And she's like, oh, take me instead. Oh no, she puts a necklace on him with the like charm that like sees off evil. So that makes the dad be like,
Danny, it's not a necklace. It's a talisman.
Sorry, a talisman. She puts the talisman on the baby, and that makes the dad be like, "Oh no, I can't do it anymore. I can't stab this infant." So then he's like, "Right, well, you're gonna have to get sacrificed instead. Take this baby away from me." And then somebody in the cult, who very clearly is feeling remorseful about the whole thing, despite being part of the cult, just takes the baby away. Mr. What was it? Wolfgang.
We see Wolfgang later as the old weird caretaker.
It turns into the weird caretaker / like hero Gandalf figure, and you're like, but you were still like, we don't get any explanation as to was he undercover as part of this cult, or was he a member who just felt remorseful when they decided to kill a baby? Like, what's this dude's deal? And then he hangs around.
He was influenced by social media. That's what it was.
Oh, that bloody pesky social media.
That fucking, he was brought in by the lies and deceit and all the toxic fake news, and he realized when he was there, he was like, hang on, this isn't what I thought it was.
Oh, I thought we were just going to get long life by not sacrificing babies, but it turns out we have to sacrifice babies. Or maybe had they sacrificed? Oh no! Had they sacrificed that many? Have they sacrificed that many babies? And he just got like two. He was like, "Oh, there's been too many. I've had enough. I've had enough baby killing.
Babies and one more. I can't do what
I got 99. I got 99 problems, but 99 dead babies are one.
I know.
Oh, that's.
Here we've drifted off into
that's bad crack. Anyway,
Wolfgang is fucking. Do you know who Wolfgang is?
I knew his face, but I can't think why I knew his face. Go on, tell me. Why would I know his face?
It's Jack Nance, who is very familiar with Twin Peaks. Fans will be very familiar with him. He's in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, okay.
And he's in Eraserhead as well. He's worked a wee bit with David Lynch over the years and stuff. So legend. I think he's dead now, unfortunately. But he's a bit of a weird actor, like very good actor. But he was in a lot of shit movies in the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
And but beloved by David Lynch fans.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he turns up later on whenever Jonathan, who is the baby, survives, and 25 years later He's definitely older than 25, by the way.
He's 100%. All of them are, because even that's, and it goes to me, because I sort of gave her like a synopsis of what the film was about when we were going into it, and then she goes, "Did you say they're all supposed to be in college?" And it's like, aye. And she was like, "Well, they don't look at it." I was like, "No, I know. I was like, it's of its time. It's of its time."
I know. I don't know if they're not really supposed to be college kids anyway. They're sort of older,
mature students.
Aye. But he's dropped out because he has to go back to the house.
He's dropping out because he wants to rent it. Well, he says he's renovating the house, but he's off fucking about with cultism.
No.
He's just messing about with his satanic rituals and trying to summon ghoulies and spirits and stuff.
I know, but you don't really get any explanation. He moves into this house that he's inherited, which is obviously his father's from the prologue scene. And
which conveniently has his grave still there. It's the scene when they're first walking up to the house and they kind of go over to look at the grave, and Wolfgang just kind of shows up, but it's very obvious that he's like wearing his like sleeping long johns under his clothes, because then later on we see him in his bed with his wee long johns. So like, you just wear that all the time, you dirty rotten stinker, you
don't even wash, you dirty bastard. And he's grown a beard, so it's obviously time has
He's
passed.
Obviously older. Yes, exactly. He's got
25 years older. He hasn't really changed that much, other than the fact that he's got this sort of grey beard.
I mean, was the beard even real?
I
have my doubts. I have my doubts about the genuineness of that beard.
I know. Little fact, just I want to drop here before we go any further. The director Bercovici, if that's his real name, I'm not sure. I may be pronouncing it wrong, and I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. He acted in a film that was directed by Charles Band called Parasite a few years before this, and that's kind of how they connect it and stuff. And it was the debut feature film performance of one actress by the name of Miss Demi Moore.
There you are.
Starred in the Charles Band. That was her first feature film.
Thanks.
There you go. She went on and married Bruce Willis. So.
The more you know.
The more. And who else did she marry? Ashton Kutcher as well.
Did she marry Ashton Kutcher as well? Aye. She did. She did die.
She did?
She did die, surely.
And she got to hug Patrick Swayze in Ghost.
Oh, we all love Ghost.
Ghostly Patrick Swayze. I know.
A lovely ghostly Patrick Swayze. Should we cover Ghost at some point on this? Does it count as romantic horror? Because it's about ghosts.
Maybe on Valentine's Day we'll do a special.
We'll do a special for Ghost.
Romantic. We'll get their clay out and all.
Me and you together.
We'll have the Righteous Brothers playing in the background.
Yes, folks. You know what to do if you want it. You know what to do if you want to see it. If you want to see me and Gav recreate that scene from Ghost.
We can't give away that. We can't give away that for free. We can't do it for free.
No, we have to ask something.
We'll have to start a Patreon or something for something like that there. That's too good. Here, I was going to suggest we could do it on OnlyFans, but they're not allowing any porn.
No, they're not.
Fucking
you know what? I would adhere to the guidelines. We're not taking our pants off. They didn't take off their pants. It'd just be, one of us would have to be topless, and the other one.
Well, they're allowing sexually explicit photos and stuff and videos. There's no ghoulie action going on.
There's no ghoulie. No showing your ghoulies.
No ghoulie on ghoulies. Multiple ghoulies going. No way.
All the week.
You don't want to see our ghoulies.
That's a ghoulie orgy. Jeez.
Right. Anyway, let's keep talking about the film.
This video is
descending
into the chaos.
As I said at the start of the film, it had to stop production halfway through because Charles Band had misplaced some cash and was like, fuck, I've no money. So
I reckon that's where all the money went, because they definitely were on. They were definitely on something to be making that film. Like,
what are you insinuating? That he had to fix his nose or something?
He had to. It was consuming some of the booger sugar.
I had to get rid of something up his nose there.
Oh, Jesus, surely. Just clearing the outer sinuses.
Funnily enough, and very unsurprisingly, it wasn't well received by critics.
Wow.
This film,
imagine why.
It was essentially panned. There was a few people that were like, "Oh, it was trying to do stuff and blah blah blah," and it didn't quite reach its heights, and it was a Gremlins knockoff, obviously because of it was released after.
Because I had little puppets. I think it's literally that's the only thing I can think that really links them is that small monster puppets.
Yeah,
Like other than that, I mean, it's the same as saying, "Oh, well, Critters is Critters is probably more a Gremlins knockoff because they're at least small and hairy." See a small and hairy gully.
Why didn't they call it? Instead of calling it Critters, they should have called it Testes.
Little hairy balls.
I know.
Hairy testicle boys. But yeah, like calling out Gremlins knockoff, I'm like, well, not really, because at least in Gremlins you kind of have like the hero creature in the Mogwai,
yeah,
and then the Gremlins are the bad ones. Whereas in this, no, they're all pretty bad. I mean, bar the two kind of demonic servants that come, Grizzle and Greedy Gut, like they kind of end up becoming good in the end. But at the same time, like they're just like two actors with dwarfism who have been dressed up in medieval armor and told to be like, right, you're demonic servants, go for it.
Here's a couple of weird round silver dome helmets,
little helmets, and
here's fake eyebrows as well.
Fake eyebrows and pointy ears.
I know. Oh, obviously,
little pointy teeth, of course. Yeah, couldn't be without those. I really like. I think that Grizzle and Greedy Gut were probably two of my favorite actors in the whole thing. Like, I think they just gave it their all. Yeah, I think they were really like genuine to the part, the way they like got on and stuff. And it's the bit where they're trying to drag one of the stoners out of the bedroom, and Greedy Gut just wants to like shank him there and then. And Grizzle's like, no, we have to take him down to the basement.
I guess they sort of keep arguing, don't they, every so often? They're like,
yeah, they kind of have a bit of an R2D2 C3PO dynamic. They kind of just argue for the sake of arguing, and then they're like, oh, but we still have to obey our master. And then the whole master dynamic changes, and it's like, oh, what do we do? I really like, and I like that they kind of got to see it through to the end and weren't just, they were kind of important to the story in the end, which I thought was quite good, because again, a lot of those kind of characters are just thrown in because they add a bit of humor and they look subservient, and you're kind of like, okay, well, that's it's just a hangover from the whole Wizard of Oz Munchkin culture. But in this, there is actually a bit of genuineness to their character, because they get to do something in the end. They get to kind of help out the hero.
It did feel like during the 80s, especially, if there was a film that had any sort of fantasy element to it, you had to have it like, a little person in it, or doing something, just to have it there, because that was like fantasy. That was like one of the tropes of fantasy. But they were pretty good. They were pretty funny, and they did have. I enjoyed their scenes together. As kind of silly as they looked, but I do agree with you. I think that Ghoulies, unfairly gets called, a rip-off of Gremlins. Other than the puppets and the little monsters, there's no connection to it, and I don't think it's fair to say that it's a Gremlins rip-off, because the whole plot's completely different, and it is kind of a fairly original plot, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's fantastic in that the person that is the lead, who is kind of meant to be the hero, he's pretty bad. He does some bad shit up until the point that his father comes back on the scene, because he's trying to he convinces his friends during a party. So we'll basically just get into the like plot now, but they inherit the house and they decide they're going to have a house party, but down in the basement he's found all his like dad's old satanic ritual stuff, and he starts to get very intrigued and interested, and you're wondering, well, is this on him, or is this part of his is there subconsciously something to do with Satanism that's in there, obviously because of his dad and all. But the first thing he does is he calls all his mates down during a house party to try and like summon a spirit, and they gets really arsey about it. When your girl does the big screaming on, he's like, shut up. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, calm your tits, Jonathan, calm your tits. Don't get your Ghoulies in a twist.
He's basically, as when he goes back to the house for the first time in 25 years, he's essentially, I suppose the whole thing is that he's kind of possessed.
Yeah.
somehow by the spirit of his father, and his father, I think, is making him do this.
It's making him really curious and want to do all this stuff. It's the bit when he's in bed with Rebecca. So they kind of had a bit of fallout, and she's like, you need to choose. It's either me or your ritualistic house shite. And he's like, no, I'm obviously going to choose you. And they have a wee smoochy smooch, and then they're in the bed and they're getting down to the dirty. And then he starts like whisper chanting while he's like kissing down her neck and all. And she's like, what are you saying? what are you saying?
She's having none of it. Like,
she's kind of like, what are you saying? At first, it's kind of like, oh, you're being cute. What you saying to me? What you saying? Just sweet nothings. And he's like, and you're it's the wee Ghoulie under the bed that's like on the pentagram being all like, fucking ridiculous. And then she's just like, fuck this shit.
No, you're having none of this.
Exactly. No, you ain't getting none of this. You're not getting any Ghoulie action tonight. And then it's just the fact he goes on to fucking possess her, doesn't he? He ends up putting a wee Ghoulie trick on her, and she becomes mind controlled until she gets the charm on. The charm seems to break the enchantment. Or the talisman, sorry, the talisman.
Get it right, darling.
Talisman. They gifts her towards the start. And then they invite all the friends over again because they need to do another ritual. So they all get, it's that whole dinner scene, like the way it's kind of like, did that actually happen or not?
I have to say, that was actually a really good scene. I enjoyed that scene. Because they're all sitting around, they're all wearing sunglasses.
They're all wearing silly glasses, and they're kind of like, what's these silly glasses about? But it's because Jonathan's eyes have got all like,
I know. Oh. He's like, I have to cover my eyes.
I have to cover my gouty green eyes.
So he's went out and bought these, or else he said in the invitation, make sure and bring funny, silly glasses.
Bring your silliest sunglasses with you, which, I mean, conveniently for the 80s, there was quite a few silly sunglasses to be had.
That was all the sunglasses you could buy, was silly ones. So I've just written down Mad Party.
Mad Party. It was a mad... But again, it starts off kind of like, yes, they're all wearing silly sunglasses, but they're being quite civilized.
The reason why it's mad is because all his mates are mad. There's one guy called Toad Boy.
There's Toad Boy, Mark Toad Boy, who for some reason just like has this wee character called Toad Boy, but he's like
role playing.
Nerd.
He's role playing. Do you know what he is? He's one of those wee D&D players who plays all the time.
And he's just like, Toad Boy, want to eat flesh? And you're like, what the fuck?
And it's like your team? back in these days, if you were any sort of nerd or you played any board games or anything like that, they always made you look fucking weird. They were like, oh, he's weird. He's called Toad Boy. He's weird.
But the thing that really like surprised me about it was, so they had Toad Boy, but there was a love interest story there, and it wasn't a case of him being absolutely infatuated with this girl and her not reciprocating. She actually did reciprocate, which I was kind of like, that's interesting. It's interesting that they didn't automatically just be like, oh, the nerd who's after the girl, but the girl doesn't want to touch him because he's Toad Boy. She's actually kind of like, oh, but he's actually quite sweet, and I want to give him a go. And you're like,
she was quite pretty as well. Like she
is. Who did we find out? Because we were looking, and then I was like, I know her face, and it turns out her ma knows my ma. Her ma is somebody. What was it? What about, and also fucking Dick?
Dick was the best.
Dick was just ridiculous.
Dick, he was the best. Fucking legend. He was.
I was just like, what the fuck? Go away. I'm trying to find it's the. No, I can't mind off the top of my head. We'll have to put it up on Twitter. But the one that is Martin's love interest. Mm-hmm. Is the daughter of a pretty famous. She was in NCIS.
Right. Okay.
She went on to do NCIS, and her ma is somebody.
Okay, her ma is somebody.
Her ma is somebody, but
we've established that. Okay,
we'll have to put it on Twitter or something because I can't mind off the top of my head right now.
I thought it was funny. Like Dick obviously is just like, hey,
he's a dick. Like he literally thinks with his dick with his ghoulies.
And he's definitely not a virgin.
Oh, he's 100% over. I sleep with girls all the time. Oh, Dick, you're such a lucky man. It's when he comes under the temptress and he's like, oh, Dick, you're such a lucky guy. And you're just like, fuck him.
I know. I loved him. I thought he was brilliant. But it's funny because they're all like, oh, what will we do? The party's calmed down and all. Like, what will we do? And they're like, oh, we play strip poker, or will we just do a ritual?
We just
So that's the only two options that they have: strip poker or doing a ritual. And they eventually go for the ritual, and then they go down to the basement. Blah blah blah. That we spoke about. And your man shouts at the woman, "Shut the fuck up, would you? This is serious."
But it's so, I love when they all kind of like Jonathan's like, oh, I need to dismiss the spirit, and Rebecca's just like, come on upstairs, stop talking shite. And then the wee ghoulie appears, the wee rat ghoulie appears in the circle like, where is everybody?
It's not, no, Danny, it's not a circle, it's a fucking potato.
It's a badly drawn circle.
You can't even draw a fucking circle with chalk.
That's why it didn't work properly. That's why there was a time delay. There was lag because it wasn't a proper circle.
The ghoulie was like, hang on, this isn't a circle.
This isn't.
He's trying to get into it.
He's
a fucking potato.
I need to just maneuver my way to the side here to get in. It's the second party where they have the pure mad. They're wearing the mad sunglasses, and Rebecca and Jonathan like initiate the ritual, which causes the dinner table to disappear and a pentagram to appear on the floor. And then after it's done, the table reappears, and everyone's just kind of like, "What?
I know.
Who? And then Rebecca, like, gee, Scoob, like ritual. To be fair, the two stoners are just Shaggy and Scooby. The way they get on, they're just like, let's go down to the cellar and drink all the wine.
I know.
They might as well just say Scooby snacks. So the ritual's done, and Jonathan and Rebecca are like, right, we're away to bed. Do what you want. Ta-ta. So they just leave these people to go like wrecking around their house.
I know.
So Dick and your girl go off to bed. The two stoners go down to the basement to the wine cellar, and Martin and your gardener from NCIS go for a wee garden walk, and this when everything kicks off. All the ghoulies start properly coming out, and Johnny's dad comes back from the
dead. Yeah.
Man, see when his body first comes out of the, and it's clearly the puppet, but it's got the big like open stretch mouth. I was like, "Fuck, that
was really good.
That was great. That was really good.
That probably cost about half the budget just for that.
Half the budget just to get that particular corpse puppet made. But like that was really cool, and I wish they kind of used it a wee bit more, because it like shows that, and then it cuts to a wider angle, and it's just him in the makeup, and you're like,
there's like three. There's like the real basics corpse, and then there's like a transition between the corpse and him, and then there's him with just blue.
He comes back to
sort of blue face. But I think I know we're having fun with this today, and it is one of those so bad it's good movies, and I think the effects in it's not bad, man. See, for 80s films, I really think the creatures are really cool.
The practical effects are fantastic. Like we absolutely love practical effects. I don't think we've ever made any. There's never been a time where it'd be like, oh, that was a wee bit shite. And in this, it's very clear that the ghoulies are primarily hand puppets.
Yeah.
But they're fantastic hand puppets.
Yeah, because they're always close, and they're always coming into the shot like this and coming away. And
even the way their wee arms move is very like.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the practical effects. It's just that the computer effects for like the eyes and stuff disappearing and reappearing. It's all about shit.
But I don't know. I think it is very 80s, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's that bad.
I love the tongue. So when Dick comes down and Johnny's dad's turned into the temptress, and you can see like where the paint is like pulling apart on the tongue.
Yeah,
and you're just like, that's amazing. And she's proper, like she's biting down on that tongue to try and keep it in her mouth.
I thought it was class. I immediately thought of the nurse scene from Dream Warriors.
100%.
But the creatures was designed by a legendary effects artist called John Carter Beekler, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, I think. But he's legendary in the horror genre. He's done loads of mostly Charles Band films or type films. He did Troll. He worked on Ghoulies, the whole Ghoulies franchise. But he also directed a couple of films. He directed like one of the Friday the 13th, and I think he actually directed Ghoulies 3. I could be wrong there, I'm not sure, but he is a bit of a legend in the genre, and his stuff, like he did the troll, special effects and stuff as well. And those little fucking puppets seem to be his kind of,
speciality,
expertise, yeah. And I loved it. Man. So fair play to him, and legend. Sadly passed away a few years ago, but I love the puppets and I love the effects in it. And yes, some of the the computer stuff, maybe isn't amazing, like the lightning strikes and all that sort of stuff, and the vanishings and the kind of weird green eyes and stuff. But it's one of those things where it's like, fuck, I love that shit. We love the practical effects. We love the kind of cheesy bad effects almost, because it's it's what we grew up on, and we have fond memories of it.
Yeah. What about when so getting towards the end, so we've obviously explained like Johnny and his rituals have conjured up the ghoulies, and then it conjures up his dead and it's getting towards the end of the film when Al Malcolm Bones comes back to reclaim his throne, and he needs to like basically sacrifice his son and all his mates to give him eternal life. And he's like, here, you've come back to fulfill your destiny, and I'm gonna basically suck the life out of you now, son. But fucking Wolfgang comes down in his wizard outfit then, and it's just like, I'm gonna take you on. They both have their fucking wizard power moment where one of them's got fucking red lightning and the other one's got blue lightning, and they're just like passing the lightning through each other and just basically holding on to each other, going.
It just came out of nowhere, because like obviously they'd sort of set Wolfgang up as being like he was back in the day, so he was part of it. But
watching over the boy.
Yeah, he's the caretaker. He's the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, I suppose. And it kind of feels like, they were stealing from, when Obi-Wan fights Vader.
Obi-Wan and Vader fighting each other. It's just and then they both just puff into a big thing of smoke.
I know.
They just go, and then the whole house just decides that it's going to cope around them.
What was one of my favorite scenes? We got to the end very quickly there, but we skipped over a few scenes.
It's, what, it just is like, as you say, the story itself is fairly original, but it is very quick.
Like you see, like how many films after this, and I don't know if this was the first one, but how many films after this have that premise where, there's a party and then they decide to do a seance, or they decide to do a ritual, or they play a Ouija board and there's 6 friends, and, that kind of idea. How many films have done that after this film? And I'm not saying that this film was the first one to do it or influenced that or anything, but, it seemed to be something that happened a lot after this film, especially in the late 80s and even early 90s.
Yeah.
So, no, I think it was a pretty original story. A very, very silly story.
Man, it's so sad. Even the end, when it's like all the mates who were like attacked and like basically left for dead by the ghoulies are all suddenly just okay.
I know.
Like, it's all good.
They were killed, man. They were fucking
evil was defeated in the end, so you're all right.
They were wrapped up in the white robes, though.
Robes.
Remember a bit like Frodo after he gets stung.
He's all like bundle him up,
but he's not dead. Sam thinks he's dead.
That's true.
Some of the best scenes in it. I love the killer doll scene. See when the 2 stoners are going in, and they look in the closet, and it's behind it, and you sort of go, It's sort of focusing on the doll, and you're like, something's going to happen here. And then
it falls out of the wardrobe.
Whenever they open the closet, and it falls out, and they turn around, and the doll's disappeared, and then it turns up later on.
It goes to attack your girl that Dick's just slept with.
Yes,
it comes through the door, and it's the way it starts oozing. And then this big mad reptilian hand comes out of it, and then this reptilian creature, which again we only get like a glimpse of in that moment. I wish we could have seen more of this like reptilian.
Yeah, that was the first
lizard demon.
Isn't that the first time and only time you see that one?
Yeah, it's the only time you see, and it looks to be far bigger than any of the other ghoulies. I mean, those wee ghoulies were a bit spoopy. You wouldn't want to bump into one in the dark, but they're not that scary. You would give it a kick, be like, away with you, you wee ghoulie. Whereas that reptilian one that comes out of the puppet, you're like, fuck me. Like, no, I ain't tussling with that boy. No boys. No
fucking way, boy.
No fucking way.
I loved also the scene. So the whole killer doll scene, that was fucking excellent. The big hand, that was awesome. Yeah. I also loved the scene where I can't remember who it is, what character. They walk in and they think it's someone standing, and they're like, oh, but it's the two dwarves. It's two dwarves. Like, two dwarves in a trench coat.
It's the stoner. It's the other stoner, not the one that's been walking around with the glasses, who's basically just like, who just. I'm trying to think what you call the character, like the Saved by the Bell character. Is it? No. What do you call him?
Zach. Screech?
No. Is it Screech? No. No, I can't think of who I'm thinking of. But yeah, he's just that typical kind of like zany, wears a pair of glasses, and but it's his other mate who's not quite as like OTT stoner. But he's the one that sees the two demonic servants in the
trench coat. Two dwarves in a trench coat. That's amazing. That's fucking so good.
Me.
I know, that was hilarious.
Moment.
That was brilliant. That I just laughed out loud whenever they turned around. It was literally two dwarves in a trench coat. That's fucking hilarious. I really actually enjoyed the last 15 minutes of this film.
It descends into absolute chaos when all the like multiple little ghoulies appear and they're just going around basically like killing everybody and dragging them down to the basement. It is absolute chaos. I actually really like the scene where, because it's Marty that gets attacked first. He's the first one, and they're sitting by, so him and your girl are like tickling each other and all by the fountain, and then her bangle falls off.
That's right.
Her fucking bangle falls off into the fountain. Oh, you lost your bangle.
I know.
It falls off into the fountain, and she's like, "Oh, Marty, go on and grab it for us." So he's like, "I can't see it," so he has to reach in, and he pulls out, and you automatically assume when he puts his hand in, he's going to get attacked straight away, but he doesn't. He pulls his hand out, and it's covered in like algae, and she's like, "Oh, that's gross," and he's like, "Frogman." But then he reaches in for it again, and that's when alligator baby strikes. But yeah, I like that they didn't just go straight away for the attack. It kind of plays out a bit, and then that's where the attack actually happens, and that it's basically from there that it all goes absolutely tits up, and the Ghoulies go buck wild.
Oh, they're fucking mad. See, those mad Ghoulies, crazy, but some fucking hand.
Them Ghoulies.
But yeah, I know, like I say, we're having fun, we're sort of slagging the film off quite a bit, but you know, it's one of those kind of
it's
so
a real
bad
charm, good, and yeah, it's got its charm. And I mean, it wouldn't have gone on to do as many as it did, as many sequels, if it didn't have that charm. You know, and as I said at the start, I think there is that kind of like, you know, people, the Ghoulies aren't necessarily, yes, the film is named after them, but they're not necessarily like big characters in this. And the only one that really shows any real character is the wee cat one, I think, because of the fact that it's got the eyes that can like roll and stuff. There's some great moments where, like, I think when Jonathan's trying to like control them towards the end, he's trying to like be like, "I am your master," and the wee cat one like rolls its eyes, and I was just like, what a fantastic just a quick wee motion for the puppeteer, but it just means so much to that like wee puppet character. I thought just wee things like I love as you know, being a massive Henson head, I absolutely love like good puppetry and good craftsmanship when it comes to puppets, and that there, I mean, these puppets look amazing, they're designed fantastically, but in terms of how they are controlled and manipulated, it doesn't seem that difficult a thing to do, but just adding those simple motions add so much charm to the characters.
Yeah, no, definitely, man, and gets a thumbs up for me. I enjoyed rewatching it, and it's a franchise that I know a lot of horror fans really, really love it, just because it's so much fun and it's just so silly. I can't remember anything about the second one, really. I know the Ghoulies are in it more, but I do have a lot of fond memories for the third one.
Will we have to go and
have we gotta do it?
Will we go watch some more Ghoulies next season? Ghoulies 2. It's so bright.
Crazy, yeah, I know.
You're having a lovely bright time. He's descending to Ghoulie heaven.
And Angelic's apparition happening outside my window.
I was going to say, I said descending, you'd be ascending to Ghoulie heaven. Yeah. If you descended, you'd be going down to Ghoulie hell.
Well,
which, to be fair, that's where the Ghoulies come from.
Exactly. They're supposed to be from hell. I don't know.
Exactly. And Satan
we don't ever
Satan.
we don't ever really get any sort of explanation, and I suppose that's kind of good as well. I'm kind of glad they're like, "Ah, shit just happens. These ghoulies just come up, and why is the dad obsessed with rituals? What's his deal? We don't really get much.
I just like shitting.
I know.
I'm just a big fan of shitting.
He just loves it. I know. But yeah, so we talked about the sequels briefly there. We'll probably cover the sequels. I'd love to cover the sequels in future episodes.
You just want to watch Ghoulies 3?
I do. I want to see all the movies. Oh, boobies!
Boobies, oh, boobs.
I know. Can't believe there's no boobies in this one's.
The faintest hint of nip.
I know.
My future autobiography. Faintest hint of nip.
That's going to be your title.
And it's going to just be my nipple with a vague, with the sort of bit of linen over it.
See-through white veil, just covering it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it going to be erect? Is it going to be like all...
I don't know. We'll
cold?
see. We'll have to take a few different pictures and see which one looks the best.
Get them up on your Instagram, and I'll post it on Instagram. We'll see if anyone likes them.
Anyone likes my nipple shots?
I know.
But not OnlyFans, because that's not allowed anymore.
No.
No, certainly not.
Sorry, no porn on OnlyFans, no porn. But anyway, so while we were doing research, if you could call it research, I discovered that there's actually a podcast out there called Ghoulies Unflushed, which I didn't realize this. I haven't listened to any of the episodes yet, but I'm definitely going to check them out.
Have to do a wee dive into the Ghoulies Unflushed.
I know, shout out to Ghoulies Unflushed. If you have listened to that podcast, let us know what it's like. And tag them or whatever in this episode. But yeah, really looking forward to listening to that, because this is a silly franchise, but it's so much fun, and there is some decent stuff in it. If you sort of delve in, especially in this film.
I think if they ever did, if they did a Ghoulies remake now, I think now would maybe be a good time for it. I think they could do some interesting stuff with it, and a lot of the ideas and the effects that were in the original could be pulled off really well now.
Yeah.
Do we want a Ghoulies remake? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, not necessarily remake, but
or a Ghoulies reboot, or just a Ghoulie, Ghoulies
sequel.
Another Ghoulies. How would Ghoulies get on in modern times?
There's 4, isn't there? There's 4 films. Because I know the 4th one came out good bit after the 3rd one. But was there anything else after Ghoulies 4? I can't remember.
Ghoulies 4.
I'll have to go and check that out. But yes, so
there's nothing worse than having 4 Ghoulies.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Check your Ghoulies on a daily basis.
Always check your Ghoulies.
Always check your Ghoulies.
Make sure they're not running rampant somewhere.
I know. Fucking, jumping in water fountains and possessing killer dolls as well.
Possessing killer dolls, yeah, exactly.
I know. So anyway, we've talked enough about Ghoulies. I wonder how many times we said Ghoulies in this episode.
I think we said Ghoulies quite a few times.
Over 100 times.
Well, we just finish off with a few more Ghoulies.
Ghoulies. And the total Ghoulies count comes to... I'll put something up saying...
Yeah, total number of Ghoulies. We just need to keep it on because it keeps going. It doesn't stop.
Fuck, there's Ghoulies after that shit.
Exactly. Anyway. Fucking Ghoulies.
I know. I'm really glad we got to do this episode, because this was a fucking pain in the arse to record, because we had some issues. Some technical issues.
Some technical difficulties because of the Ghoulies. Or the Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins.
Who caused it? Well, who can really tell, because, they're so similar.
They are so similar. It's really difficult to,
tell them apart.
Because, green puppets.
I mean, there's only one green puppet in Ghoulies. The alligator baby.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is actually how it is referred to, but it's how I'm referring to it. So
I don't think so.
That's just the way it is.
I never thought of an alligator.
Alligator baby. I saw it looks to me like a wee alligator baby. Alligator baby.
It is sort of reptilian.
This is my new song, Alligator Baby.
Alligator Baby.
Coming out next week.
That's going to be your second biography.
My second biography. Alligator Baby. So...
I know, right? Anyway, we'll finish up here.
I'm off to wash my gullies.
We've talked a lot of shite on this episode. If you made it to the end of this episode, well played.
Thank you for sticking with us.
We're really sorry that we talked so much shite, but cheers anyway. So, hope you enjoyed the episode. As always, check out the website www.thefrightclubni.com. And check out the social medias, Twits and Insta at the Fright Club NI.
And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. I'm not going to do the pointing finger anymore because you know where they
know the
be.
crack.
You know where they are.
And tell all your horror fans about us, and
Yes.
share some of the episodes if you can, and like and comment if you can as well. We'll put the link up to our OnlyFans / Patreon for everyone.
If you want, please donate to us if you want to see us recreate the scene from Ghost, or if you want us to, I don't know, buy some Ghoulies so that we can do a sketch that basically implies that we're playing with our balls.
If you want to see Danny's erect nipple,
you want to see my erect nips, donate.
I
don't do that shit for free.
No, Jesus Christ. Fucking no way, man. You have to get paid for your time.
Exactly. My nipple time.
I know. Right, anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next week. Stay safe, take care, all the best. Bye.
Bye.